Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal back with a new thoughts, analysis, and rant. So, this past week, Olympus have finally announced their new successor, an updated model to the OMD E-M1. Not surprisingly, it is called the E-M1 Mark III. So, I'm just gonna call it E-M1 III. I don't like saying Mark III, which doesn't even make sense. So, first and foremost, I just want to let you know that I am not a hater of Olympus. In fact, the videos that you see in my channel are all shot with the OMD EM5 Mark II. And then I also have Micro Four Third lenses from Panasonic and Olympus and Sigma. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the specs first, okay? So, price is $1,800 body only, and depending what country you are, it could be $2,000 for your country or whatever currency you're using. It still has the 20 megapixel sensor, Micro Four Thirds sensor, max resolution of 5184 by 3888. It has image stabilization that has been improved to now 7 stops, which is absolutely ridiculous. See, this is why I love using Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera, due to its image stabilization. And so, since the sensor is a few years old from the EM1X, it basically has the same contrast detect and also phase detect. 121 number of focus points. Not only that, the screen is also articulated, but the resolution of the screen is 1 million dots, still LCD, not OLED. It also maintained the 2.3 million dots of electronic viewfinder. Could be improved, but they didn't improve. Minimum shutter speed is 60 seconds, and maximum is 1 out of 8,000. Maximum shutter speed per electronics is 1 by 32,000. Unbelievable. That's pretty fast. Continuous drive of 60 frames per second. Not only that, video format, we're looking at MPEG and H.264. It can shoot 4K at 24 frames per second and also 30 frames per second. Also shoots 1080 at 60, 50, and 30p. Now it comes with a microphone and also comes with a headphone port, which is pretty good. For those video logging. And I'm looking into this camera. Could be a second body, but we'll see later. It also comes with HDMI port. Also has a Wi-Fi, which is pretty good, and also has USB 3.1 or USB Type-C that can also be charged. And then it also maintains the previous battery pack from the EM1 II, which is basically the BLH1. Battery life is 420 shots. It doesn't have GPS. It has orientation sensor, and it has a time-lapse recording. So with that out of the way, and not only that, I just want to let you know that they improved the eye and face tracking. Much better based on the videos that I have seen in the internet. And last but not least, when it comes to the pricing with the lens, with the new 12 to 40 millimeter, it is $2,500. And then with the 12 to 100 millimeter lens, it is $3,000. So with that out of this, with the specs out of the way, let me give you my thoughts. My thoughts on this camera is it's an incremental update, and I have a big problem with this. You see, if this doesn't sell, Olympus is gonna say, oh, the consumers are preferring full frame cameras. And I would say, no, we don't. The fact that you only made an incremental update, not only that, you've been using this sensor for 3 years now, could be 4 years now. is bad. So will I buy this camera? No. Not only that, it's overpriced at $1,800. Might as well buy a Panasonic G9. Now I won't lie, I do like the OIS and the video features, but the video features is lacking in terms of 4K 60 frames per second. And there really hasn't changed much. If you have the look, I'm gonna break it down like this. If you have the E-M1 2, don't buy this. Don't buy the E-M1 3. If you have the E-M5 2 or 3, don't buy the E-M1 3. Just save your money. If this E-M1 3 suddenly go down the price, let's say $1,000, could be $800. You know what? At $800, I'll buy it. But nonetheless, I wouldn't if it's more than that. So let's get to the analysis. I'm gonna say it again. If Olympus finds out that the sale of the E-M1 3 is bad, they're gonna blame us consumers instead of blaming themselves, because they have to blame somebody. Not only that, with this price, you can get a full frame camera, Sony camera, that has a better video features. Not as good as OIS, but in terms of video features and also camera itself, and the sensor is much better. So they're gonna blame ourselves, they're gonna blame us consumers, and they're gonna look at the market and they're gonna say the market is going to full frame cameras. No, the fact that you are still pushing old tech to new camera body is just bad. It just shows that you as a camera brand doesn't have the vision, doesn't have the foresight. You were not developing new sensor technology. And so when the market suddenly is not buying this camera or this type of camera with old tech in a new model, then do not blame the consumers. Only you as a brand can only blame yourself. Not only that, me having an E-M5 Mark II, it shows that Olympus seems that they are lagging behind, whether it be tech. I don't think they're lagging behind tech. I think they're just lacking motivation. And so this just going to be a niche market in terms of the market. Not a lot of people will buy it. I'm sure you'll see a lot of bloggers say, oh, it's the best camera, which isn't really. It's not. But in terms of the market, it's not going to move shares. It's not going to move market shares. It's not going to move a lot of units. And so don't be surprised. Now, finally, let's get on to my rant here. And I have a lot of them. Number one, it has two memory card slot, but one of them is only UHS 2 and the second one uses version 1. Does not make sense. If you're gonna use UHS 2, why don't you just move it to just make both of them be the same speed? Why have one that's faster than the other? It doesn't make sense to me. Number two, same sensor, which is pretty old, probably 4 years by now. Same sensor as the E-M1 2, E-M1X. So there's nothing really much. And I'm paying $800 for this body? No way. Same resolution as the electronic viewfinder as E-M1 2. Again, you had a couple years to improve this and yet you didn't. Number four, again, the LCD screen, which is fully articulated, so you don't know, is same resolution, same as the E-M1 2. You see where I'm going with this? Number five, when it comes to video features and autofocus, it uses the same phase detect autofocus and contrast auto detect as the X and the E-M1 2, because it uses the same sensors. Although the processor is different now, it uses TruePix 9, which is faster. I'll give them that. And also, they improved in the eye and face tracking. Again, I'll give them that credit. I'm giving credit where it's due. And finally, well, actually, I shouldn't say finally. Number six, no 4K 60 frames per second or 50 frames per second in video. I mean, you have 30 frames per second on 4K, but no 50 or 60. I mean, don't tell me it's due to overheating sensors. I don't believe that, because if you have 30 frames per second, I don't see why you can't do 60. And then last but not least, the price. $1,800 for the body only. Again, depending on where you are in the world, you could be looking at $2,000 or $2,500 or whatever your currency is. And that to me is just overpriced for a camera that doesn't even have any major changes in technology. It uses the same sensor, it uses the same autofocus, it uses the same battery. I mean, it uses the same resolution, it uses the same viewfinder, it uses the same LCD. So again, I don't know what changed. And they didn't even mention about microphone audio, how good it is, how good is the amp. And I've been looking, so I'm guessing it's the same thing. So let's get to the conclusion here. If you have an E-M1 2, don't buy the E-M1 3. If you have the E-M5 2 or 3, don't buy the E-M1 3. And for a camera that is released, that is now a competitive field, consumers are not going to look into this camera. They will look at Canon, Sony, Nikon, and Panasonic. And this will be a stain, also another step back for Micro Four Thirds sensor, which I am a fan of because of the portability and smaller size. And this just shows that Olympus as a brand may not have the vision or the foresight to actually compete with full frame sensors or even other camera brands. It doesn't have to be full frame sensors. And they're just trying to squeeze as much money as they can with old tech. And they wonder why Micro Four Thirds are not gaining grounds, because this is just one of those cases. And so that basically it for my thoughts, analysis, and rant on the Olympus E-M1 Mark III. I will see you again, and hopefully Olympus does something major next time. Bye bye.